go all the way. Welcome in, everybody, to Even Strength Special Edition. We're going on early tonight because there's a guy on screen with me who he's got a game tonight, from what I understand. But how are you, Sam? We haven't done this in a bit.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I hear there's just a little small hockey game going on tonight that we're going to look at. But I've been great. It's been such a fun couple of weeks with everything going on, and yeah, what a rush it's been.
It's been a lot of fun. You've been crushing it over on your channel, just killing it with games and everything. And it's been a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, I'm having a good time. Rangers are still in, and we're doing a special edition tonight, everybody, for if you're joining us and you're like, wait a minute, don't you guys do this at 10 o'clock at night? Sam's got a game at 8 o'clock. So when we wrap up here, you guys are going to head on over to Sam's channel and get in on the game. Let's welcome in Brian Wasco Pico Train is in the house. Monorail Steve is here. Amelia just subscribed. Thank you, Amelia. We appreciate that. Everybody who's going to be coming in on replay, if you'll drop in a comment down below, let us know the things that you want to see. If there's anything that you want to make predictions about with any series, let us know and we'll bring it up next week when we do Even Strength or during one of our streams, because Sam does them, I do them. We're all over the place with all this stuff, but let's get into some hockey talk. It's been a nutty week. So what are you seeing?
Well, I have a question for you to kick off the show.
Uh-oh.
Because I don't know what it's like. I've never experienced this in my entire life. So let me ask, what is it like having your team in the third round of the playoffs?
It's like a heart attack on a bun. It's been a while. It's been since 2014. The last time we were here, King Henrik was in net. We lost to LA in game 7. I had my dreams, hopes, and aspirations crushed. So I'm hoping that we don't have more of the same. I'm not really. I went into Tampa. I went into game 7 for the Hurricane going. I knew we had it. Like, there was no doubt in my mind we were going to absolutely beat them. When we went into Tampa, I said, I thought the first game we would come out strong. 9 days off is never good. They came out, Tampa looked really flat. And I was like, the Rangers were on fire. And I said, well, let's see what happens in game 2. Game 2, Tampa tried to come back, and it was like we crushed their soul. So game 2 was fantastic. However, having said that, and I said it all stream last night, I'll say it again. We were literally, everyone's like, oh, the game's over. I'm like, they're the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions. They're not going to get crushed. They're not going to go, oh, we need to go home. They pulled their goaltender, the second best goaltender in the league. They pulled him with 3:44 left in the third. They score a goal. Now they're down by 1. And what happened? They were peppering the net. Rangers just kept trying to ice the puck. That team did not want to go away. They still believe they could tie it going to overtime and win. This is not going to be a team that's just going to go away. So I'm hoping in games 3 and 4 we pick up 1. If we can pick up 1 win in Tampa, I think we close out the series and go on to the finals.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with you. I said it last night on our stream that I was super impressed with the Rangers. I did not expect them to come out and play as well as they did after kind of going the distance in the last round. Knowing Tampa had the rest, I kind of figured they'd take game 1, but I thought Tampa was just going to come back in game 2 and really kind of put up a big number. And they didn't. In the way they were playing, I was like, wow, Tampa looks lost. And I think if the Rangers can come out the way they did, you're right. All they have to do is take one of two, and the series is theirs.
I kind of agree with you. Like, my audio's off. That's about right. Freaking Ecamm. The one thing I'll say is the way that it looked. This kid line. First of all, you have 20, 21, and 22-year-olds skating. These kids could probably play five games in one night and not get tired.
Yeah.
Tampa looks tired, and like, it was funny when they were doing the intermission. They said it looked like Stamkos was tired and aggravated. I agreed with that. Road Warrior, what's happening? Dallas hockey girl in the house. It really looked like they were tired. They were off. They just didn't look like they cared. And the Rangers, Panarin looks like he's having fun again. Mika Zibanejad looks like he's 23 years old skating around out there. But that kid line, they are something else. They are a force to be reckoned with. I think the Rangers, if they have done this right, they may have accidentally built a dynasty with kids.
Yeah. And first of all, this Philip Heidel, I keep calling him Scheidel because I need to pronounce the C.
It's Heidel, but that's okay.
But he is absolutely outstanding. I remember watching him through the regular season, up and down, didn't really stand out. And this playoff run has just really opened up my eyes to him. Spectacular.
The kid line, literally, even with Lafreniere, I think, has realized he's an assist maker. He can get goals. He's a power forward in the making. He didn't know it. And he doesn't mind playing gritty hockey, and I like that. And then you have Capo Caco, who I call him Gobble Tacos. And so if you ever hear, why is David saying about Gobble Tacos? That's Capo. I can't even say it now. Capo Caco. He is a letdown, and he has come on in the playoffs to become an assist maker. He's a playmaker, and that wasn't originally his role. But these three have figured out that if Heedle is our goal scorer, Lafreniere is our gritty guy, you got to have that playmaker. And they're playing really well together. I'm really impressed with the way these kids are playing. Keandre Miller stepped up in such a way, even as another rookie. And rookie, it's his third year, but still, it's like he's really starting to come on. And I'll tell you, if there was an award for this, and I think that the Rangers give it out every year, it's the Stephen McDonald Award. But the person who deserves an award right now is Ryan Lindgren. 55 on the Rangers. He's battling a lower body injury. He went off the other night, couldn't even put weight on his leg. 5 minutes later, he's back on the ice. 5 minutes. This guy, he's in my starting video every night. He's covered in blood almost in every game. This is a guy who I have nothing but respect for.
Yeah. I think another guy we got to mention, Mr. Corn on the Cob. He's been absolutely amazing. He does it quietly. He's not putting up a ton of points, but if you watch the play, the way he moves the puck, the chances he takes, the physicality he throws out, not big booming hits, but just enough to knock a guy here or there. An all-around game. Super impressed. He's another one that I kind of didn't really look at as a big contributor, if you will, and he really is in a quiet way.
It's funny because I don't consider him a top liner, and he's up there. It's Panarin, Kopp, and Strome. And the funny thing is you look at that as our number one line, and you say our number two line is Zibanejad, Kreider, and Vetrano. It almost seems like we have two number one lines, but I always sit there and I always say, hey, call the cops. And that's my thing for Kopp. Is I'm like, wow, call the cops. He's down there. He's going low. He's getting dirty. He's fighting it out, And with Strome, Strome's up for a contract renewal. My question is, who are you going to keep? Strome or, Vetrano? Are you going to keep Kopp? What are you going to do? I'd like to see this team stay intact. I think that we have something really special coming. But Kopp he's turned out to be a gritty player. I like what I'm seeing across the board. But and he's not an unsung hero. I mean, all I got to do is play this. Igor Shesterkin is the game changer. It's that simple. This guy has done something few goaltenders have been able to do. Okay, you can stop now. Thank you. His head is always over his pads. He never looks rattled, ever. I've never seen a goaltender play like this.
Yeah, he's been money. And listen, this whole series, right, was built up of Vasilevsky versus Shesterkin. This is the Rocky Four, Rocky versus Drago matchup that everyone's been anticipating.
Yeah.
And while Vasilevsky, I don't want to say he's been bad, he just hasn't been great. And in this series, with the talent that's here and the pace this series is being played at, he needs to be great to win. And
yeah, and let me tell you something. If Tampa has any chance in winning this at this point, two things have to happen. Number one, Vasilevsky's got to come to superstar level. Like, he's got to become a superhero. He almost has to put bricks up behind him to stop them from scoring. And secondly, Tampa has got to they got to stop trying. They're gripping the stick a little too much. They're trying to hit us too much. I think they're pissed and they're coming at us. And I think that they haven't realized that that's not the formula to beat us. I've been saying for months on this show and when I've been calling some of the Ranger games, any team that wants to compete with us north to south hockey is going to lose. If the Rangers show up and they play their style, and Tampa is a very much like a Ranger team. We are two very similar styles. I'm sure you're seeing the stats in between periods. They're almost split. The difference is the Rangers just seem to be better right now.
That they're getting those hockey bounces. The hockey gods have graced them with that magic touch. Yeah. And it's just when it needs to bounce left, it bounces left. And for Tampa, it's the complete opposite. Everything just goes where they don't want it to go. They're missing some passes. They're not crisp. They're just missing the net. We're talking fractions of an inch, but that's all it takes. And Rangers just have it going.
Bernie, what's up? And Bernie just actually they played the best 10 minutes at the end of last night's game, and I agree. At the end of the game, they started to get their game together. I expect Game 3 to be insane. Morgan, what's happening? The biggest question is, I'm totally biased. No problem admitting this. I say it all the time. I try to call the game as fair as I can. I'll call the Rangers out when the Rangers get away with one. But do you agree they put the whistles away at the end of the second period and just never took them back out? I mean, There were so many penalties on Tampa, from interference, cross-checking, boarding. Everyone was like, "Oh, Trouba with that hit." That was the cleanest hit in the history. Like, his elbows down, body's locked. He's been running Trouba trains over everybody. What do you think of the way that the refs are calling the series, calling the game? What's your opinion about what you're saying?
So I got a little annoyed. I got a little frustrated with the officiating. And this series has actually been better. This round in general has been better overall than what it has been in the first two rounds. But when you see the game getting chippy, and you have situations like, I'm pretty sure it was last night's game, they kind of all jumble together at this point.
Yeah, right.
But I think it was Reeves and somebody on Tampa were kind of mixed up with each other in the third period.
It was Moron. Oh, no, you're talking about not in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, towards the end.
Yeah.
It should have been both of them put in the box 4-on-4 for 2 minutes, and there you go. Instead, they just give it to the Rangers, and, whatever happens. It didn't end up being a big deal. But when you're in that situation, when both guys are involved and they're whacking and slashing, just send them both. There's no need to call one. And I find the refs are trying too hard to make these games close in this round.
See, and I think that bothers me, because they shouldn't have an influence on the game. To your point, in the beginning of the game, we were 2.5 minutes in, and Moron and Pillow Hands are sitting there whacking at each other. And I'm pretty sure it was them again towards the end of when Reeves got called for slashing and went to the box. But, you're talking about that. There's a goal that's scored. Okay. Reeves goes into that was at the beginning of the game. But it's like, and you're right. They start to blend together, but it's like They call Reeves. I freaked out. I literally went nuts. They score a goal. Now imagine if we go into the third period, it's 3-0 Rangers.
Yeah.
Because the goal that scored on the power play. So you take that away, and all of a sudden it's 3-0. Obviously, they're still going to pull the goaltender, but if they score that goal, it's 3-1. They may not get the same kind of fire. They may not get that same kind of anticipation. The Rangers may, instead of icing the puck, may go for that empty netter. I don't know. I don't like what I'm seeing. It seems like the penalties change per period. And it's like in the middle of the period, they're like, nah, I think we're just going to put the whistles away.
Yeah, that's a good call. And using the refs, that's a really good segue. If we flip over to the Edmonton, Colorado series, now this series, again, at big hype, McDavid versus McKinnon, what's it going to be? Avs absolutely are steamrolling the Oilers.
Yeah, they are.
But the big, issue in this series so far is there's that offside call in game one that pretty much completely changed the outcome. Game is tied 2-2. Avs go in, they score the third goal. It's being contested on the offside. When they look at it, from the replays they showed, it looked like it was clearly offside. So then Edmonton gets the delay game penalty. Avs go and score again. Now they're up 4-2. And that game ended up being, it was completely ridiculous. Was it 8-6 the final, something like that?
That game was wide open, 8-6. It was a shooting gallery. It was actually a lot of fun to watch that game. I got to be honest with you. I know that if you're an Avs, an Oilers fan, you were literally having a heart attack the entire game. But I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun to watch that game.
Yeah, it was. It's been a lot of fun. But that call specifically, and it took about 2 days. It was right before game two when they finally came out, and the way they broke it down is he played it in, so it was a delayed offside. He didn't touch the puck again until the other person tagged up. So the explanation made sense. Fine. But of course, everybody on social media, they're freeze framing it as it's coming in. And you can clearly see he has the puck is still touching the blade of his stick, the heel of his stick in an offside. So even with the explanation, it still should have been an offside. And who knows what it would have been. I don't blame the refs on the ice because, it's a bang play. They went to review. It's the review guys in Toronto. And this is where the whole NHL conspiracy comes up. We talk about week over week over week. Where they're kind of deciding what they want to let go. And I think there's too much interference to the point when other media sources are talking about and articles coming out on social media about the NHL is fixed. It's not just us noticing these things. Other people are catching on and raising it. And while there hasn't been any, diehard proof to show what's going on or any insider coming out, admitting to anything, it's more and more appearing to be the case, and that's what really bothers me.
It really does bother me because they should not have an ability to change the outcome. Now it happens in the NFL all the time. You get a guy who's bobbling the ball. The question is, what is the bobble? When does he have control? It stopped being about sports and it became about rules and technicalities and things like that. I think that at the end of the day, when you have Toronto looking at it and everything else, and then you listen to like Don Kohorsky, which I hate more than life, and some of these other people, and you're listening to them tell us, we side with the ref. Of course you do. Like, I don't expect you to be like, it was an absolute crap call. No, they got it wrong. That's never going to happen. Like, they don't generally do that. From time to time, they'll get I can understand both sides of it, horse crap call, but what they've got to do is they've got to settle in. This is the rule, enforce the rule, call it a day. This thing about, and what I really love, and this one blows my mind when it comes to offsides. His foot is off the ice, hovering over the blue line, but because the foot is still technically over the line, it's not offsides. What? It used to be you had to drag that foot.
Yeah.
Now the foot can be off the ice, but hovering in midair. I mean, there does get to be a point when this is ridiculous. And I think the one that I think that bothers me the most is I think that if they really wanted to get this right now, here's where I go totally nuts. Right. This is Dave going wacko. Put a sensor inside the puck, the exact size of the puck. It'll tell you, and then put it where the goal line is. It'll tell you whether or not it went over. It'll tell you the angle. Is it three-dimensional? Is it like this? Did it go in like this? Did it cross the line? I would love to know that because it would be cool. However, can we go back to old school hockey? Can we just go back to playing it and, but this intent to blow the whistle crap, I hate. I hate the fact that and by the way, I came up with a rule the other day. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't. I don't believe in linesmen. I think all 4 of them should be full-on refs.
Yeah, I would agree 100%.
So
there's so much that they see, or at least it appears they see. When you watch replays, they're looking right at what's happening, but because they don't have the stripe, they can't call it.
And there's a lot of times that the ref is looking away. They're looking where the play is, and you're getting this happening behind the play or whatever, and the linesman can't call it. Put 4 refs out there, put 2 on the line, 2 down in the zone. They don't even have to skate then. There's no going down the ice. You have 2 refs at one and 2 at the other. This would make the game a little bit easier for the refs to manage. If it turns out that you have 5 minutes playing in the offensive zone, you could have that third ref come down. The other linesman, if you would. So I would like to see it change a little bit, but I think that they, if nothing else, get the rules right. But going into game 2 for Avs Oilers, I mean, you talk about steamroll.
Yeah. Oilers are in bad shape right now. Tonight, in what are we, almost half an hour time, it's do or die. If Edmonton loses this game tonight, they're finished.
They're
not
time.
Coming back.
Now, let me say from the standpoint, and by the way, Bernie's blowing up about a lot of the rules with sticks and the way that it's called and taking the instigator out of the game. I'm mixed on the instigator. I think that they go too far with the instigator. I don't have a problem with giving them extra 2 minutes. I think that that's actually a good call because these Nancys can't take the hit anymore. They take, somebody gets a clean hit and then the third guy jumps in. I think third man in rule is still fine. But this 10-minute misconduct thing is stupid. Give them the extra 2 minutes or give them a double minor. I don't care, but 10 minutes is outrageous. It's stupid. They already got 5 for fighting. Give them a double minor for the instigator if you want. But nothing more than that. Give the other team the advantage. You really have to think it through then. But the 10-minute misconduct is dumb. But I think if the Avs do pull this off tonight, let's say they go for a sweeper game or 5 games, it favors the Rangers if the Rangers move on. So, and I agree with you, Bernie. I don't like the fact it's not called correctly. I agree. But let's say in a hypothetical world, right? Both teams are winning 2-0 in the series. Yep. Could you imagine they both go only to game 5?
That would be something else. That would be great because it would make the Stanley Cup final start a little earlier. But I really do think it's just, and I'm only judging for these couple games, I think we're in for an Avs Rangers final, which I think is going to be spectacular. These teams line up so well against each other. The goaltending in Colorado is going to be questionable. I mean, Francouz was spectacular in his last game. I don't know if he can do that every night. Kemper, who knows when we're going to see him back and ready to go. That could be the difference, but I'd love to see both these teams go head to head.
I think that's where we're gearing up. The Rangers have to fall apart at this point, or barring major injuries, things like that, which we don't want to talk about because I don't like doing those things, especially when it's my team. I would say this. I still have this feeling it's game 7 for the Rangers. Why? I don't believe Tampa's just going to fall apart. I just don't. I have never thought that, especially since my second team is Tampa. Like, I don't say second team like, oh, I like them as much as the Rangers. No, I'm a Ranger fan through and through, but if the Rangers aren't on television at night, the team I'm rooting for is Tampa. Or anybody playing anyone in the Metro Division. But the thing is, I don't see a sweep. I doubt we're talking game 5, but if the Rangers pick up one, they go home. It's very possible. I'm not going to say it's improbable. I mean, we're undefeated at home. So I don't know. But a game 5 there, game 5 for Avs or 4 or 5 would be great. If you see the same thing that happened with the Avs, where they sit around for a couple of days and the Rangers come in not missing a beat, I think it favors the Rangers. But I don't know. So we've talked about the series going on. Both of us think that we're looking Avs Rangers at this point, which, by the way, 3 weeks ago, we weren't saying this.
No.
So how things have changed. So, it's like, oh, they're laughing at us, Sam. So what do if let's say the stars align? It's me versus Monorail Steve in Rangers versus the Avalanche in Stanley Cup. Give us your breakdown. Both teams. You're calling both games. You're seeing how it's working. What do you think the advantages are? How do you think it turns out? What do you think about it?
So I think from an offensive standpoint, both teams are pretty equal. They have a ton of firepower. They have that guy, Zibanejad for the Rangers and McKinnon for the Avs, who just can tee it up from the top of the circle and let it go. Defense, again, pretty close. I'd probably give the edge, I think, to the Avs just because Makar is something really special. So I'd give the advantage there, but I'd give the goaltending advantage to the Rangers. So I think if these two teams do meet, and again, let's assume we're going, 5 or 6, that this round is going even.
Yep.
So we don't have the one team sitting for a
sure.
week.
Let's go even.
I think you're going set. I think it's going to be a 7-game Stanley Cup, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's 2 or 3 of those games that go to overtime.
You actually just predicted what I was going to say, which is I think the only place that I think I differ is, even though Makar is a great defenseman, Adam Fox he's Brian Leetch reincarnated, and Brian Leetch isn't dead yet. This guy is something else. Now Trouba brings an element to the D not many teams have. Okay. I mean, with the Trouba train and the way that he can game change with a hit, whether and I'm not talking about knocking anybody out. So I don't want anyone to think, oh, Dave just wants to see people get knocked out. Yes, I do. But we're talking about the fact that he can hit somebody so hard that the team goes, oh my God, I felt that in Washington. I'm talking about the fact that he can game change and momentum change with one hit. You've got Keandre Miller, who looks like he's literally coming into his own. And if Lindgren can stay healthy, that is the heart and soul. He's our new Jesper Fast. He's this heart and soul player that's just incredible. Braun, I don't care about. You could take him and launch him out of a potato cannon for all I care. He's filler. Schneider, good kid. He's not fighting. He's playing a little gritty. Again, don't care. But the other top 4 are playing extraordinarily good hockey. Defense-wise, I'd say they're almost even. I like my chances a little bit more with Adam Fox and with Trouba, especially since they don't generally play together. So that's rolling 2 defensive lines that are really working. I would go so far as to say I think our kid line gives us a little bit of an advantage on the offense because they have finally figured this out. It's almost like when you don't know you're supposed to be able to do something. They went into the playoffs, and in the first round, everyone's like, it's the playoffs, it's a big deal. And they're like, oh my God, we're scared. And then all of a sudden, the second one, they were like, wait, this is pretty cool, actually. We get to play the same team over and over and over again. And Philip Hedl was like, I figured it out. And they're coming together now. And watching this culmination, if we get into that 4th round, if Shesterkin continues to do what Shesterkin is going to do, I say Rangers in 6.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing. I mean, Rangers definitely have the advantage in the physicality side. I think Colorado may have it in the speed side. So I think that's where the game's going to get real interesting because in order to hit them, you have to catch them. But if you're a speedy team and you start getting hit a whole lot, you tend to slow down.
Exactly right. What's up, Brian? No, thank you, buddy. I tend to agree with you. The biggest thing though is, and I have said this all year, there's not a team that wants to skate north-south that wants to play Ranger hockey. Every team that has done this has not been happy with it because we do have a balanced team. And I agree with you that grit is going to make a little bit of a difference there for the Rangers. If the Rangers hit this series, we're being out hit. We technically have the same kind of toughness and grit that Tampa does, but we're not hitting. Like if you weren't actually calling games and you were watching me, no, I'm just kidding. I keep screaming at the television, hit him. And we're just not doing it. Reeves is skating around. He's on the ice for 18 seconds and then goes off. But I agree with you. They've got a little bit more speed. I would put Zibanejad, Kreider, maybe a couple others up there in that speed category. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be fun. I'm super nervous about the rest of the series. I'm super nervous about playing the Avalanche. If we play the Oilers, I think we kill them. The Avalanche, not so much. And I know Jonathan right now is probably sitting there ninja watching going, David, I hate you. And Dallas Hockey Girls like, go Oilers, go. I think where they're going is back to the oil rig. Or to find vinegar to go on a salad, your pick. So
and the question would be if those two match up, against St. Louis, Kadri bashes into Binnington, and we have water bottle fest, right? I don't know if you saw the interview. Binnington finally admitted he threw the water bottle.
Yep.
It was great.
Yep.
Then we have this series, and Kadri, runs into Mike Smith a little bit, jars him. So would it be game 1 or game 2 when Kadri runs over Shesterkin?
He hits Shesterkin, you're going to have an issue. I could tell you right now, with being laid up right now, I spend a lot of time in Ranger Town. And one of the things Gallant keeps saying is he's pulling everybody back. He doesn't want to take that off penalty. He doesn't want this. But he did sit there, and one of the things that were asked was, what about retaliation or this or that? And he goes, you run over one of our players, Panarin, Zibanejad, Shesterkin. He's like, we're going to have a different game. And they were like, well, what do you mean? And a lot of people don't remember the fact that Gallant used to be a fighter. Okay, this is a guy who used to drop the gloves. He went with Bukaboom. This guy don't have a problem throwing the mitts. So I think what you're seeing is a coach that's trying to be restrained in the sense of saying, hey, you know what? We've got to win offensively. This is a team that's gelling right now. Let's not throw off our game. But if you bulldoze somebody or something happens, you saw it last night with Moron and Pillow Hands. Twice they went to go at it. Okay. And twice. And then if you remember at the end of game 1, they wanted to go. He wanted to go Tony DeAngelo. He's been keeping everybody kind of in check. There hasn't been really anything out of line. So it's almost kind of like your nuclear deterrent, if you would. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting. One bizarre story for you, because what would a even strength episode be without talking about Arizona for a minute? I don't know. I haven't confirmed this. I can't even get it out. So we talked about they can't even get their own logo at center ice. Apparently, the NHL is so desperate to make this work in Arizona that they're working on a deal that with this entertainment company that's going to, build this whole complex, that they're going to say Arizona is going to stay there for 25 years. We're not going to move them for 25 years, and we're going to give them the draft and the All-Star game, and we're going to throw all this stuff behind it. I think, he's completely lost his mind. I don't understand.
Well, if you noticed, Bettman turned 191 this week. So someone at some point is going to say he's too senile to run the league. Because, look, if you lock this team in, you're going to – let's see, interesting how audio is 10 to 15 seconds ahead of video today. Uh-oh. It's great. My audio is all over the place. If they're literally going to be doing this with Arizona, I mean, they're fighting. It's literally like rearranging the deck chairs and making new drapes for the Titanic 15 minutes after it hit the iceberg, and it's like, is it comical? It's comical. Give them an all-star game because everybody wants to travel to Arizona to go watch this, as opposed to putting it in the hot spots where the teams are. I really, I don't get it. I don't understand what they're trying to do with forcing this through. I don't understand why it's so important for them to make this team viable when there's 15 other markets that would gladly take this back. So
I guess he sees Vince McMahon forcing Roman Reigns down our throats for years and years. I guess he's trying to do the same thing. But if the Titanic had Flex Seal, would it still have sunk?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's actually a really good question. Maybe if they put the rivets in correctly. Never mind. So, ironically, one of the things that that we were, when we were talking about it, the Nordiques are actually still owned by the Avalanche. And when I inquired and tried to get an answer to it, it sounds like that Avalanche would have to give up the rights or sell them. So you would be looking at a new franchise, according to what I've been told. Now, that's not from the league. That's not an NHL thing. That's just me asking. One of my best friends is a corporate attorney, and he goes, no. He's like, the Avalanche, and by the way, huge hockey fan. Is usually in the chats, Ninja watching. And basically what was said to me was, look, they own it. They are the Nordiques. And unless they want to, the NHL may own partial this or that, or right. But at the end of the day, that is the Avalanche franchise. So it would have to turn around, and you would, at least in his opinion, he doesn't know. Obviously, he's not reading the paper. Bucks, what's happening, brother? It's really one of those things where it sounds like it would be a new franchise, but I would love to see Canada get another team and make it like the Grizzlies or something, and just go nuts. Or since we have the Lightning, wouldn't it be cool if they were like the Quebec Thunder, for Thunder Bay? Like that'd be kind of cool.
We did the Grizzlies with basketball. It didn't work that well.
Not even a little. But if they're, the loggers, I don't know, like the flapjacks. There we go. But, it basically what it comes down to is it would be interesting to see what they're going to do with them. I think that, there has to be an owners meeting this year. They've got to start to talk about this. When you talk about overall revenue, determining what the salary cap is, Arizona's got to go into that mix, and owners have to sit there and say, well, wait a second. I'm pulling in my fair share. They're not pulling in anything, and they're affecting our cap. If it was in another market and they were pulling in X amount of millions of dollars per game per year, they would affect the salary cap in a positive way. So I would assume that if you're going to have that number, your salary cap based on total revenue, at some point the owners are going to get pissed and just say, no, that doesn't work. Either you got to change the metrics, change the measuring stick, or change markets.
100% agreed.
It's just the way I see it. So, what are you doing tonight?
Well, we're gonna root for the this little game that's going on just on the western side of us. The good old Oil versus the mighty Yeti in the Avs are gonna go toe to toe, and we're gonna have every second of it. Man, I can't wait.
Bertie put up the Canadian Cup list. He goes, "Oh, too soon. Sorry." It's fantastic. So, who are you rooting for in the game, or do you not care?
I don't care that much. I was going for the Oilers because they're the only Canadian team left. I'd love to see it for McDavid, but man, if they have to win tonight, they have to jump out to an early start, or they're done. And I don't see that happening.
All right, now I love you to death, okay, and you know that, but so far, Toronto, Florida, Oilers, just do me a favor. Don't root for the Rangers. That's all I'm asking.
This has been the worst playoffs of my life.
I'm totally blaming this whole thing on you. We're just going to lay it at Sam's feet and go, mic drop.
The NHL has spoken. They said, Sam, you're out.
Dude, you're literally – I've sat there because somebody said something. They're like, Sam's rooting for he was rooting for the Canes. And I was like, I asked him to. It's like, I don't know. Well, anyway, I know that you need – what's that?
It's the only reason I'm cheering for Tampa Bay right now.
And I appreciate that more than you know. But you guys, look, he's going to be over on Sam's channel, which let's get that put up there just in case anyone doesn't know, which I doubt it. Go over to Sam's channel. He's literally – we're going to be getting off the air here in just a second so that you guys can head on over, jump into his chat, help him hit 6K like he does every other stream. Tell everybody about it. All 9 of you. Go over there. And one of these days, Sam, people are going to catch on to this show. They're going to be like, that's one of the best hockey talk shows in the world. These 2 idiots are hysterical.
They're missing out. Did you notice one thing? And maybe it's too early to call attention, but on that graphic I sent you, everybody on the outside they're golfing, but the one guy who's standing in front of this cup has a good chance of taking it home. He's
not taking it anywhere. He's going to go take it to a water fountain. It's going to be a sippy cup. Yeah. So now I don't know if you saw this, but did you see this picture of me with the cup? There's me, Jen, Belle. I have my hand on the cup. Jen's got her hand on mine. Belle is sitting there. I have like 10 pictures of Bella hugging the cup.
That's
so
amazing.
It was so much fun to see this down at Disney Springs. It was a great time. But everybody, do me a favor. Go over and support Sam. If you're watching us on Team Replay, we're a bunch of idiots who just love to talk hockey. Sam's only got about 17 minutes to get going, so we're going to wrap it up now. Basically, we're going to see what happens this week. We'll be back next week, probably at the early time, depending upon if there's a Saturday game. We'll kind of be, just keep your notification bells on. Pay attention to Instagram. We'll let you know when we're going to be where. It'll either be at 7 o'clock on Saturday or 10 o'clock, depending upon if there's no game. But, Sam, anything that you want to leave us with, wrap it up with, anything like that?
Just God, Oilers, please make a game of it. That's all I ask.
Just make it fun. So
just make it fun. Get us through the night. That's it.
So go over, check out our other partner channel, The Pete McDevitt Show, for baseball, basketball, hockey, football, curling, Disney, you name it. Pete's involved in it. He's getting it done. Sam Welby 12 Experience. You got to go check out his channel, which we all know that you guys already have. My wife, if you're interested in checking out a Disney stream, she is live from the Magic Kingdom right now. She's actually in the park as we speak. I'm a great husband doing my own show. And so basically, I'm getting laughed at. Oh, no, I'm in trouble now. So, but for Sam, I am the Bear Shark. He is the natural. We together make even strength, everybody. We will see you guys next week. Tomorrow, I'm live, 3 o'clock for the Ranger game. So is Sam. So both of us will be out there. Sam's going to crush my soul by getting 85,000 people on his channel, and I'll have 12. And with that, we appreciate every single one of you guys. We'll see you guys later. Take care.